If you didn't think conservatives could get any more insane, I now present to you Eric Bolling, who wants to debate Muppets.
Not the first time these little felt communists have tried to infect the minds of our youngest and most vulnerable children. A decade ago, way back in 2011, I called out Kermit, that cute little green monster commie. But I remember when I was a little kid, we were poor, we were dead broke, in fact, and my parents would see someone wealthy driving by and be like, see that guy? He started a business, he worked hard, you can be like that someday. Not pointing the finger at Tex Richman and saying he's a bad guy. Well, here's what happened. The Muppets were blaming an oil baron for closing down the studio. That's cute, you little oppressive Muppets. They didn't even try to hide their disdain for success by naming the guy Tex Richman. But I took them to task. I didn't mean to say anything that offended you guys. I called them anti-capitalist because of the movie, and the rich oil guy was portrayed as bad. Just want to say, listen, Froggy, what's his name? Kermit. Miss Piggy, if you want to debate this anytime, I'm all for it. So let's bring it. Let's have maybe, I don't know, Donald Trump moderate a debate. What do you say, Kermit? All right, well, I called them out almost 10 years later. They never took me up on that offer. Apparently, though, me calling them out didn't sit well with one portly pink dummy who took to the media to trash me for exposing her leftist tyranny.
It's almost as laughable as accusing Fox News as, being news. Boy, that's going to be all over the internet.
Yeah.
Seriously, they got a real big problem.
Guess what? The invite's still open, Miss Piggy. If you or your emasculated frog boyfriend, Kermit, ever wanted to join this desk, it's free.
What the fuck did I just watch? What? I mean, come on. You got a grown man challenging Muppets to debate on television. Conservative. I mean, you think like, oh, it's got to be a bit, right? And maybe this is just me, but maybe I could see Bolling laughing a little bit, like, oh, like even he knows that it's fucking ridiculous. But even then, it's like he's there and he's doing it and he's saying the thing and he's become a caricature of himself. I mean, seriously, wow. The whole idea, like, oh, Sesame Street is communist propaganda. That's what it is. Kermit, little felt communist. That's what it is. Oh, everything is a communist, right? Everybody's a communist. How's asking people and promoting a vaccine during a pandemic? How is that communism? How is that communism? It's not. It's called protecting yourself against a virus that has killed over 700,000 Americans. But honestly, that's what they do. As I said before, they call everything that they don't like communism. It's as if all words have lost their meaning. It just makes no sense. No sense at all. But by the way, if we're going to play that game, okay, then we can play that game. Fox News, capitalist propaganda. Now, unlike Bolling, what Bolling said, that's actually true. It is capitalist propaganda. It's pro-billionaire and anti-working class. They can't give up an opportunity. They can't resist taping for millionaires and billionaires who screw over the working class. And so, again, his example, Tex Richman. Oh, when I was a kid, and we were so poor, we looked at that person who drove by in a nice car, and we were like, oh, you could be like them one day. Yeah, that's it. Yep. We just have to step over all other members of the working class in order to get there and then lie to their face. That's all you have to do. And then tell poor people that you're the problem and that other poor people are the problem. Yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah, that's the ticket. This guy loves oil barons. Oil barons, coal barons. Oh, they're awesome. We love those people. Absolutely, 100%. And by the way, If they could bring back the Gilded Age where children worked in the factories and the coal mines for very little pay, obviously, less pay than adults, and would get injured or die. Well, but you know what? According to Eric Bolling, there's freedom. Freedom. And if you don't agree, what are you, communist? It's total red scare. Total red scare. But again, look at the absurdity here, okay? Hey, Eric, Muppets aren't real people. I know, you're not actually, like, why don't you debate someone who's actually real? Because Muppets don't exist. They're not real people. Why are you out there challenging them to a debate? Why not challenge somebody who is a leftist? I know. Because you're afraid that you're not smarter than something that has stuffing in its head. Maybe because you also have stuffing in your head. Interesting. But what's next, by the way? You debate the Muppets. What, then are you going to bring on Captain Crunch? Going to have a debate over crypto? Or what about bringing on Daffy Duck to debate hunting season while you're at it? This is ridiculous. It's insanity. And by the way, there's a reason for this madness. And it's obvious. It's a culture war. They don't have anything to offer the American people policy-wise. Their biggest accomplishment, tax cuts for the rich. That's it, tax cuts for the rich. And then, in order to distract people, they have to engage in these theatrics, in these culture war issues, and all that ridiculous stuff. Now, there was a part that that was at the towards the end of the clip that I cut off for time, and that's what he said. Well, Americans, 50% of Americans agree with me, and then didn't go into details about what. What did they agree with you for? What did they agree? Okay, on vaccine mandates or taxing the rich. What is it? All right. So, well, let me address both of those issues actually. So on success. Okay. So one of the things that he says, these communists want to punish success. That's what they want to do by taxing the rich. Well, you know how many Americans want to tax the rich? 71% of voters say, let's raise taxes on the wealthiest 2% of Americans. Not only that, okay, again, taxing the rich, very, very popular. Even a wealth tax, very, very popular with the American people. What about vaccine mandates? Now, that's where we get into more interesting numbers. So now it's a little bit more mixed. Turns out a Politico Harvard poll found that support for requiring public school students 12 and up to be vaccinated against COVID is 54%. So now that's obviously a little, for the people that are against vaccine mandates, that's less than 50% if you know how to do math. 54% is an obvious majority, which means you have 46%, or a little bit less because there are people that don't know, that are not sure, but that are against vaccine mandates. So it's a little bit closer, okay, but still a majority. Now, this is despite media attention being focused on anti-vax protests, which we know, as previous reporting has confirmed, that a lot of these anti-vax, anti-mask school protests are basically astroturfed by right-wing organizations. Not really, concerned parents that are like, oh my God, I can't believe my child has to protect other children and themselves and people at home from COVID-19 by wearing a mask. Or, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to do a mandate to vaccinate kids in school so that, once again, they protect each other, themselves, and people at home. But anyway, okay. That said, just 1 in 12 respondents, according to the same poll, to the survey reported being politically active on mandates, meaning that, like, okay, they might be against the mandates, but then they're like, we got other issues, we got more important issues, not really something I'm getting worked up about. Only 1 in 12. Okay, and they, of course, showed that they're active on the mandates, that 1 in 12, by going to a public meeting or a demonstration or contacting a school or other public officials. So it turns out mandates aren't really on the minds of the American people. You actually have real issues. For example, you do have inflation. Things are, costing a lot more. You also have prescription drug prices. That's one of the major issues. People are paying too much for prescription drugs. You also have, of course, pay, wage disparity, economic issues, etc. All right. Again, more important issues, but they do weigh in, and people are like, well, mask mandates and vaccine mandates, they are kind of important and, whatever. But here's the thing. In Texas, of all places, you actually have majority support for mask and vaccine mandates. In Texas, 57% of voters support mask requirements in indoor public spaces based on local conditions, and 58% support mask requirements in schools. 54% of Texas voters also support allowing businesses to require employees to provide vaccine passports or proof of vaccination or submit to COVID-19 tests. That's the Biden plan. That's what Biden, wants to require people to do. That's the mandate, so that they protect not only their customers but also the employees, the fellow employees. So now, a slight plurality, however, is opposed to the same requirements for customers. Only 47% support them, while 49% are against. Remember, these are Texas numbers. Now, 54% of voters support and 43% oppose public schools to require staff to either provide proof of vaccination or submit to frequent testing, so that's the teachers, but are nearly split on requiring students to adhere to the same measures. 49 opposed, 48 support. So, like I said, these are the real numbers. Now, Texans also lean in favor of requiring vaccines for admission to large events, with polls showing 47% of voters favor vaccine passports. So again, on the school issue, it's a little bit more mixed. That said, Texas, right? Generally, with some exceptions, in favor of a lot of these mandates in order to keep people, children especially, safe. Now, I wonder how much different this would be if Fox News hadn't been pushing vaccines or anti-vax as a culture war issue. Because before COVID became a political issue, nobody had any problems with vaccine mandates in schools. Because again, that all sorts of vaccines are mandated for kids to go to school, and there are very few exceptions. It's got to be the media. It's got to be their media consumption. And I ask that because, again, you have people who watch Fox News, who watch Newsmax, like Mr. Bowling. They tend to be the most radicalized against masks, against vaccines, and against, mandates of any kind. And so that's it. It has become their identity now. And it astounds me that conservatives can look at this insanity from Bowling and think, nailed it. Oh, you sure showed that commie frog and his pig girlfriend what's what. No, we live in different worlds with different media. And unfortunately for them, their media is completely made up. No facts whatsoever. And it's literally hurting people. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.